Commander Vos Tarak stood at the viewport of the Imperial flagship Eternal Dominion, staring out at the blue-green sphere suspended in the void. The leathery folds around his four eyes deepened as he narrowed his gaze on the primitive world. How utterly absurd that this insignificant mud-covered backwater had somehow managed to withstand the might of the Zarnian Empire for 3 full solar cycles. Commander, his second-in-command, Lieutenant Pax, approached with a datapad gripped firmly in her clawed hand. The Supreme Emperor demands an update on the Earth situation. Vos exhaled heavily through his breathing slits. Wonderful. Just what I needed today. Another chat with our most exalted and unquestionably not deranged ruler. Shall I tell him you're indisposed? Pax offered hopefully. And risk being flayed alive? No, thank you, Vos replied, straightening his ceremonial armor. Put him through to my quarters. I'll need to look sufficiently groveling for this call. 5 minutes later, Vos was kneeling before the towering holographic projection of the Supreme. Emperor Kra, the infinite ruler of 7,000 star systems and the self-proclaimed living god of the Zarnian people. The Emperor's enormous head filled the projection field, 6 eyes blinking out of sync in a way that always unsettled Vos. Commander Tarak, the Emperor's voice thundered. 3 cycles have passed since I commanded you to bring these humans to heal, yet I see no tribute ships, no slave transports, no mining operations stripping their world for my glory. Explain yourself, before I have your family lineage erased from our genetic archives. Vos kept his head bowed, silently thanking the ancestors that the Emperor could not smell the fear pheromones he was currently producing in amounts that could incapacitate a small herd of battle rhinos. Most divine Emperor, Vos began carefully, the humans have proven unexpectedly resourceful. Resourceful? Resourceful? The Emperor's hologram swelled in size as he leaned toward the transmitter. They are pre-warp primitives with scarcely a century of radio technology. Their weapons are crude. Their ships are flimsy. Their bodies soft and fragile. How are they still resisting us? Vos cleared his throat. Your eternal magnificence. That is precisely what makes them dangerous. They are unpredictable. Unpredictable? The Emperor's voice dropped to a low, dangerous rumble. Yes, sire. For example, when we initiated the standard orbital bombardment protocol, they did not surrender as projected. Instead, they scattered into underground bunkers and remote wilderness regions. When we deployed ground forces to their largest cities, they refused proper battlefield engagement. They fought house to house, street to street, turning their own infrastructure into weapons. The Emperor flicked a dismissive claw. Tendril primitive. Guerrilla tactics, nothing our forces haven't crushed 1,000 times before. With respect, Divine One, there's more. They have been adapting our technology. A dangerous silence followed. All 6 of the Emperor's eyes narrowed in perfect unison. Explain, he hissed. Vos brought up a sequence of images on his datapad, transmitting them to the throne channel. This, he began, was one of our standard hover tanks, captured 3 months ago during the Battle of New Chicago. The projection displayed a Zarnian assault vehicle, its sleek lines marred by crude but effective human modifications. Earth-made weaponry bolted to its hull, additional armor plating welded in mismatched slabs. And this, Vos continued, was one of our scout ships, recovered by their forces and reverse-engineered to create this. The next image materialized, a human-built vessel, unmistakably infused with Zarnian propulsion systems. They are learning, sire, fast, faster than any species we have ever faced. Then exterminate them, the Emperor thundered, his hologram swelling until it warped against Vos's ceiling. If they cannot be subjugated, they must be destroyed. Deploy the planet cracker weapons. Vos winced. We tried that, Your Magnificence. The humans intercepted and neutralized the first planet cracker we launched. Then, well, what, Commander? Then they sent it back, reprogrammed to target our main battle group. The Emperor's jaw slackened in shock. How many ships did we lose? 17, sire, including the dreadnought Unyielding Dominance. The Emperor's skin flushed the deep, furious purple of imperial rage. Commander Tarak, I am dispatching the 7th Imperial Fleet to your sector. You will have overwhelming force at your command. You will crush these humans, subjugate their world, and drag their leaders to me in chains. Or I will personally feed you to the flesh-eaters of Draxus Prime. Am I understood? Perfectly. Divine Emperor, Voss replied, bowing even lower as the hologram dissolved. When the connection ended, Voss collapsed into his chair, exhaustion crashing over him. 3 cycles of unbroken war with the humans had aged him far beyond his years. His scales had begun to dull, and an unsettling murmur now echoed from his secondary heart. Lieutenant Pax entered after a cautious knock. I take it the conversation went poorly? The 7th Fleet is coming, Voss said flatly. The Emperor expects the humans gift-wrapped for him by the time they arrive. Pax's expression darkened. The 7th? But that's over 1,000 ships. 143 to be exact, Voss replied, rubbing at his eye ridges. Enough firepower to turn this planet into molten slag a dozen times over. Will the Emperor truly authorize full planetary destruction? The resources alone? The Emperor, Voss cut in, has stopped caring about resources. This is personal now. The humans have made him look weak. In his mind, they must be annihilated to preserve the illusion of Zarnian invincibility. Pax's gaze tightened with unease. But, sir, if we destroy the planet, and we lose any chance of uncovering how they've resisted us so effectively, Pax argued. Their adaptive abilities alone are worth studying. Voss regarded his lieutenant for a long, silent moment. Are you suggesting we defy a direct Imperial order, Lieutenant? No, sir. I would never... Pax stopped mid-sentence as she caught the faint upward curl of Voss's mouth flaps. Oh, you're being sarcastic. Indeed. And you're absolutely right. The humans are a rare opportunity. He rose, moving to a secure terminal. I've been studying them, intercepting their transmissions, dissecting their culture, their history. The room dimmed as the screen came alive, cycling through images of human wars, art, and technological feats. Do you know what makes them truly dangerous, Pax? It's not their technology, not even their adaptability, impressive as that is. It's their stubborn refusal to accept defeat in their entire history. They have fought wars against themselves that should have ended in days but dragged on for years because neither side would surrender. That seems inefficient, Pax observed. Extraordinarily, Voss agreed, but it makes them nearly impossible to conquer conventionally. And there's something else he pulled up, an image of a human entertainment program. They have been imagining alien invasions for centuries. They have mentally prepared for us in ways no other species ever has. They have envisioned every possible way we might attack and developed theoretical countermeasures before we even arrived. So what do? Pax asked. Vos turned to face his lieutenant directly. Something. Unprecedented something. The Emperor would have me executed for even suggesting. Pax's eyes widened. Sir, we are going to negotiate with them 3 days later. Voice found himself in the most surreal situation of his military career. He sat in our purposed human structure called a gymnasium in the neutral territory of Switzerland, facing a delegation of human representatives across a long table. Their leader, a female called Admiral Danny Morgan, watched him with unnervingly steady eyes. Humans blinked, so infrequently compared to Zarnians, and their facial expressions were subtle to the point of being unreadable to him. Commander Tarak Admiral Morgan said, her translator converting her speech to flawless Zarnian, you claim to want peace, yet your reinforcements continue to arrive in our system daily. The 7th Fleet deployment was ordered by the Emperor himself. Vios explained, I cannot countermand that order without being immediately replaced by someone who would follow it without question then. What exactly are you offering us? Asked another human, this one introduced as General Jack Torres, because from where we are sitting, it looks like you are just stalling while your forces build up. Who else leaned forward? What I'm about to propose is treason by Zarnian law. If word of this reaches thee, Emperor, my entire bloodline will be purged from existence. He paused. Gathering his courage, I'm offering you the Empire itself. The humans exchanged glances. Explain, Admiral Morgan said, her voice carefully. Neutral, the Zarnian Empire spans 7,000 worlds, but its rotting from within the Emperor's tyranny has created countless enemies both outside our borders and within them. Dozens of subject species would rise up if they believed rebellion had a chance of success. My own people chafe under Kra's rule, but we lack the means to challenge him directly, and we are supposed to do it for you. Torres scoffed with us. Voss corrected, not for us. The humans who fought us to a standstill with inferior technology could revolutionize our society. Together we could overthrow the Emperor and establish a new order, one based on cooperation rather than subjugation. Pretty words, said Dr. Layla Patel, the third human representative. But why should we trust you? Your forces have killed millions of our people, and you have killed hundreds of thousands of mine. Boas countered this war benefits no one except the Emperor, who sits safely on his throne. 20,000 light years from here, activated a holographic projector displaying the schematics of those who join your cause, and a guarantee that when the Emperor falls, what replaces him will be better than what came before? General Torres laughed. You are asking us to launch a revolution across an empire of 7,000 worlds that we have never even seen, based on your word that the people will rise up to support us. Not just my word, Boss said. He gestured and Pax brought forward a secure data module. This contains communications from resistance movements on 300 Imperial worlds. They have been watching your resistance to our invasion. You have become symbols of hope. Throughout the unexpected alliance proposal empire, they are ready to fight if given the opportunity. Admiral Morgan took the data module here expression, thoughtful. We will need time to verify this information. Time is the one thing. We don't. Have Voss said urgently. The 7th Fleet will arrive in 30 of your days. Once they are here, I will be removed from command and the Earth will be reduced to ash. Then what do you propose? Dr. Patel asked. But joint operation, my most loyal ships combined. With your best forces, we strike at the heart of the incoming fleet, capture its command vessel, and use it to broadcast evidence of the Emperor's failures to the entire Empire. That's audacious, Admiral Morgan said. The Emperor expects me to continue a conventional war of attrition until reinforcements arrive. He doesn't expect me to take the offensive, and he certainly doesn't expect me to ally with you if we do this. General Torres said, slowly. And if we succeed, what happens next? Boss's mouth flaps curled into what he hoped the humans would recognize as a smile. Then we take the fight to Zarnia Prime itself. We dethrone the Emperor, and we build something better from the ashes of his regime. You are talking about the largest revolution in the history of your civilization, Dr. Patel observed, possibly in the history of the galaxy. Yes, Voss agreed, simply because it's necessary, because the alternative is genocide, either yours or eventually ours, when the Emperor's paranoia inevitably turns. On his own people, a long silence fell over the room. The humans conferred quietly among themselves, while Voss waited, his fate, and possibly the fate of the galaxy, hanging in the balance. Finally, Admiral Morgan spoke. We will need to discuss this with our full leadership council. Can you provide us with tactical data on the incoming 7th Fleet? Voss nodded to Pax, who transferred another data package to the humans. Everything we have: their numbers, capabilities, command structure, and estimated time of arrival. Return to your ship, Commander. Admiral Morgan said. We will contact you in 12 hours with our decision. As Voss prepared to leave, shedded, for what it's worth, I believe you are sincere. Whether that makes you a hero or a fool remains to be seen. Voss paused at the door in the Empire. Admiral, the difference between a hero and a fool is simply who writes the historical record back aboard the Eternal Dominion. Voss paced his quarters. anxiously. If the humans rejected his offer, his only options were to carry out the Emperor's orders or face execution for failure. Neither prospect appealed to him. Sir Pax called through the intercom, urgent communication from the surface's hearts. Raced put it through. Admiral Morgan's face appeared on his screen. Her expression gave nothing away. "Commander Tack," she said formally, "our leadership has reached a decision." Voss held his breath. "We accept your proposal," Morgan continued. With conditions relief flooded through Voss's system name. Them first, immediate cessation of all hostilities against Earth and withdrawal of your forces to beyond Lunar. Orbit's second, exchange of technical specialists to verify the information you have provided and begin integration of our forces. Third, a formal treaty recognizing Earth's independence and sovereignty. Agreed, VOAs said quickly. There's one more condition. Commander Morgan added, her voice hardening. If this is a trap, if you betray us in any way, we will ensure that not only you but every Zeon ship in this system is destroyed. We have held back some of our humans. Reveal their secret. Weapons capabilities don't force us to reveal them. Bose nodded solemnly. I understand, Admiral, but this is no trap. This is the beginning of the end for Emperor Kra and the birth of a new era for both our peoples. Morgan's stern expression softened. Slightly. I hope you are right, Commander, for all our sakes. The screen went dark. Pax approached cautiously. Sir, what did they say? Voss turned to his lieutenant, a genuine smile spreading across his face. They said, Yes, Pax, now we prepare for the most important battle of our lives. He looked out at the blue-green planet that had defied an empire, and may the ancestors help Emperor Kra when he discovers what's coming for him. The planning room aboard the Eternal Dominion buzzed with an energy Voss. Tarakad never felt before Zarnian officers huddled with human military commanders over holographic displays, their former enmity set aside in pursuit of a common goal, survival. The 7th Fleet will exit hyperspace at these coordinates, Voss explained, pointing to a spot just beyond the orbit of the gas giant Jupiter Grand Admiral Vorex commands. From the super dreadnought Inevitable Conquest, he's a traditionalist, prideful, but not particularly creative admiral. Morgan nodded, and you ascertain your own forces will follow you into what amounts to treason. The crews of 27 vessels have pledged their loyalty. This confirmed approximately 1/3 of my remaining fleet. The rest, he shrugged his broad shoulders, the rest will fight for the Emperor. Brother against brother, said General Torres grimly. You never an easy thing better than species against species, Voice replied. How many ships can Earth contribute? Morgan tapped her datapad. 43 combat-ready vessels with reverse-engineered Zarnian tech, plus another 17 with hybrid systems that should at least be able to distract the enemy who did the calculations in his head, 60 human ships, plus 27 of his own against the hundreds that would arrive with the 7th Fleet. The odds were well suicidal, was the word that came to mind. You don't look confident. Commander Dr. Patel observed. Would you prefer I lie? Voss asked, his mouth flaps twitching in amusement. Not at all, Patel replied with a small smile. I appreciate the honesty, but perhaps you should see what we have been working on. She nodded to Morgan, who activated a different section of the holographic display. A new vessel appeared unlike any Voss had seen before. What am I looking at? He asked, circling the projection. We call it the Trojan. Horse Morgan explained, named after an ancient Earth military tactic. It appears to be a standard Zarnian frigate from the outside, but inside the hologram expanded, revealing the ship's internal systems. But by the ancestors, Voss breathed, you have completely reconfigured the power distribution and those weapon mounts. They are not standard issue. No, Tora said with obvious pride. They are something we cooked up. We call them pulse disruptors. They target the specific frequency of Zarnian shield harmonics. Voss looked at the human general with newfound respect. You developed this in 3 cycles. We work fast when motivated. Torres replied, and having our planet threatened with extinction is quite motivating. We have built 6 of these vessels. Morgan continued. They will form the spearhead of our attack force, but there's one more thing you should see. She expanded the hologram again, focusing on a compartment near the ship's core. This yellow squinted at the image. Is that a quantum fold generator? But that's impossible. The power requirements alone are considerable, Patel finished for him. But we found a way. This device creates a localized subspace bubble that can temporarily remove a ship from normal space. Not quite invisibility, but the next best thing. You have developed phase shift technology, Voss said, astonished. Even the Empire only has theoretical models for this. Morgan smiled like the general said, We are motivated. Voss turned to Lieutenant Pax, who had. The 7th Fleet arrives. Been silently observing. Update our battle plans. These Trojan horse vessels will need to get close enough to the flagship to deploy the phase shift technology without detection that still leaves us heavily outnumbered. Hax pointed out. Yes, Boss agreed, but no battle plan survives. First contact with the enemy. As humans say, we will need to improvise. He looked at Admiral Morgan. Something your species excels at. I'm told Morgan's eyes gleamed. You have no idea, Commander. 2 weeks later, Voss stood on the bridge of the Eternal Dominion watching as the last preparations were made. His loyal ships had been retrofitted with human modifications, their crews integrated with Earth specialists. The atmosphere was tense, but determined. Incoming transmission from Grand Admiral Vorex, a communications officer announced, The 7th Fleet has begun its final approach. They will arrive in 6 hours. Voss nodded, acknowledge receipt, informed the Admiral that we stand ready to assist. In the final subjugation of Earth, after the officer complied, Pax approached. The human vessels are in position, sir, hidden in the shadow of Europa as planned, and our own less loyal comrades still believe we are preparing for a final assault on Earth. Captain Drius suspects something, but he hasn't voiced his concerns openly. Keep an eye on him, Voss ordered. If he attempts to warn the incoming fleet, eliminate his communications array. He paused. By any means necessary. Understood, sir. Voss activated his personal communicator, Admiral Morgan's status report. Morgan's voice came through clearly. All ships ready. Commander, the Trojan horses are powered up and waiting for your signal, remember. Timing is everything, Voes cautioned. If we spring the trap too early, Vorax will have time to regroup too late, and his ships will be too spread out to capture in the quantum field. We know the plan, Commander Morgan replied, a hint of amusement in her voice. We wrote half of it. Of course, Voss said, feeling slightly foolish. Forgive an old warrior his anxiety, nothing.